very interesting that the week of like the anniversary of JFK's assassination anniversary, there was like a zillion leftists that like I'm mutuals with that were like, there's nothing weird about JFK. The CIA story is like exactly what happened.
Getting angry at people, unfollowing and blocking people for questioning like the CIA narrative, which I'm sorry.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Aaron. Oh, we love you, Aaron. Just like the most commonly questioned, like, I feel like it's more common to find somebody that questions the narrative of the assassination.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Aaron.
Hey, thank you, Aaron.
I'm sorry that I never give you stock prices in Animal Crossing, but I'm very busy until nighttime. I just wanted to say that to you. Anyway.
Well, like, Kennedy. So, like, in the 70s, when the Zapruder film was finally released, the they did a poll on like how confident the citizens were in the Warren report, and it was 8%.
Right, because I mean, there's so much. There's so much, like even
hey,
then.
Echoplex, and hey, Zoe.
Hey.
So,
hey, y'all.
Yeah, so
everybody's here.
So,
two cars.
Henry Luce, who owned Time Life magazine, among other like mass media publications in America, bought the Zapruder film off the guy who took it and immediately like shoved it in a vault. And it wasn't released until like the House Select Committee on Assassinations put public pressure on like the Luce estate to release it. But what's funny, why I really wanted to bring up the House Select Committee on Assassinations is one of the people that like made me insane the other day basically said that you're crazy if you believe that there is any sort of conspiracy around the JFK assassination, which is a very interesting tack to take when it's literally the position of like the House of Representatives that there was a conspiracy. Like the House Select Committee on Assassinations said, like they didn't really like, they had no answers because we'll never have answers on this, but like they said that yes, it was a conspiracy. Like obviously there was more to it than just like a crazy guy on the 6th floor of a very interesting building.
Right. It reminds me, it doesn't remind me, it's the same thing. It's just like that, the lady that did that chart, that like, most in like the gateway to like the worst conspiracy theories chart.
I was floating like 3 feet off the ground when I saw
like that. You're insane if you believe like the things that Jeffrey Epstein did and that we know that he did. If you believe that he did them, you're just as crazy as people who believe like, what was it compared to?
Like faking the moon landing.
Yeah, like just the most insane, like crackpot.
Flat Earth.
Yeah,
like comparing things that we know to be true with. I mean, it's just like, I mean, this word is overused in every context, but it's unironically gaslighting.
One of the
You're crazy if the thing that you saw that you know is true because you, I mean, aren't an idiot.
One of the things that she put on her conspiracy theory chart was Iran-Contra.
What?
Which, like, made my whole entire body.
Which part of Iran-Contra?
She was like, later on, she was like, not a conspiracy that it's like, it's not like it's fake, just that Reagan didn't know anything about it. And it's like,
yeah,
how are you defending Ronald Reagan?
And it's like, well, first of all, Ronald Reagan didn't know about it because he had fucking dementia.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan didn't know how to wipe his doo-doo ass.
And his vice president ran the fucking CIA. Yeah. Of course he ran that operation.
Like why does that
Why
matter?
else would he be vice president? HW was a fucking dumb idiot.
Wasn't HW also like the CIA guy?
He was literally the CIA director, and he was CIA'd up his whole life in naval intelligence Zapata Petroleum was super, was clearly like a CIA cutout. The CIA loves like using legitimate private corporations as like a cutout, and it's like, wow, that's weird that in like the year leading up to the Bay of Pigs, Zapata Petroleum like made just like had oil rigs surrounding Cuba. Why would that happen? So, by the way, Zapata Petroleum still around.
Great.
Really?
Yes. But like it just made in like something that you'll see from like people on Twitter that consider themselves to be like quote unquote like anti-tanky, whatever the fuck that means, is like this weirdly deep anger about like people who don't believe the State Department line. And like I'm used to people being like pretty naive, but like this idea that the State Department isn't like literally like CIA is like factually incorrect.
So I have not a take, but a suspicion that a lot of this stuff is like people who, whether they're like baby Marxists and like they haven't been like Marxists for a long time, or they just haven't reached a point where they like,
or they're functionally illiterate.
Well, I mean, where they're like fully understanding of the role of intelligence agencies. Right. Like, I think that if you like are just starting to have you're trying to have like a really like cold, like materialist worldview, right? Where like you're trying not to look for shadows everywhere. You're trying to find like the easiest, most understandable explanation for a lot of things, which is money. And you don't realize that the CIA has its own like specifically anti-communist ideology
and its own money.
Yeah, and its own money, and an ability to. I'm hearing a big echo, but I'm going to keep going because I'm going off. An ability to create a shadow state that can do whatever it wants with the implicit and often explicit support of.
Well, and you find like post World War II, you find multiple presidents who, either during their administration or after it, have openly wondered how in control of their government they were.
Right.
Kennedy mentioned this to many people who talked about it like at the time, their primary first-person sources.
That's all fake. That's
Nixon talked about it before Watergate. A great story that I love is Bill Clinton sent an aide to Langley, the CIA headquarters, to like he was literally like, go see who killed Kennedy. And the CIA told that guy to fuck off.
My God.
And he's like, well, I'm here on behalf of the president. And they're like, yeah, we don't give a shit.
We don't answer to that guy.
We don't answer. We don't care. We don't care. Like, fuck off. And so, like, this idea that, like, in Echoplex, I totally agree with you that there's so much, like, stupid shit out there, which like I also wonder about like the provenance of that, because if you want to make like things like questioning 9/11 the official story, or questioning the official story on JFK,
you're gonna make it
if you wanted to make that like socially unacceptable, like get someone to make loose change, like gets like put some like really like idiotic stuff out there. And like
Alex Jones could was it Michael Brooks who said that Alex Jones could have been created in a petri dish.
Absolutely.
And like
he's perfect.
Because when you think of a lot of these things, you think about the JFK stuff, and like the thing that comes to mind is like the people who think he's still alive and that RFK is still alive, or that like he's going to be the president or something. And
sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt.
You're fine. I'm just saying, like, that stuff exists for a very specific reason, to make people who, even the phrase, like, just asking questions is seen as like a red flag. Because a lot of the time, the people who say that kind of thing are, like, in the pocket of some unsavory people.
Well, you had people like Alex Jones who will like have like, you know, like an actual like I'm sorry, the comment by Husker dude just like
just rocketed through my bones.
Yeah, like they'll be like, yeah, okay, this guy's talking about JFK, he's right. He's talking about 9/11. Like, that seems weird to me. Like, I have questions about that too. And then like they'll be like, also everything wrong is because of the Jews and the lizard people. And it's like, whoa, hold up, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Don't worry, Husker dude, you're not canceled.
Yeah. We can't pick our families.
Oh, hell, that's so funny. Cavernacle is editing a video on Alex Jones right now. Yeah.
And like I would. I think InfoWars is a very like. I'll just say InfoWars is probably like one of the best things the CIA has done in the last like 20 years. As far as like making it socially unacceptable to like think like
anything outside of the
State like wow, it sure is weird how like we just like let Muhammad Atta into the country and let him get a pilot's license, even though he had an FBI agent assigned to him. There's probably nothing there.
Yeah,
but nothing to worry about. Like one of the last things I wanted to say is House Trotter that's his handle on Twitter. I don't think I've ever heard his real name. Who's like a frequent guest on TrueAnon, has said that like, if you really read about stuff like JFK, and like read like regular things about like the conspiracy, and you act regular about it, and you talk to your friends and family like normally and rationally, like people will like listen to you and believe you.
Yeah.
When you like are like, let me show you this like 97-hour YouTube video about the temperature of jet fuel.
Bob like
people
levitating off of his like Bob levitating off of his bedroom floor, like sending me screenshots of like books about Alan Dulles at 3 a.m. That only works because
we're friends.
But
you want to read it.
Yeah,
you'll never read the book.
I'll never read the whole book. No.
Yeah.
Let's be real. I can spend 2 hours listening to a Taylor Swift album. I cannot be fucked to read a book.
And that's a really good point, Echoplex, about how like you get these online communities of people that are like maybe like they came together with something that was like more or less right, or like something that was like sort of legitimate, and then they end up being QAnon.
Well, like, it's so easy to believe right now, like the Save the Kids stuff. I can see how like your Facebook yoga mom or like some normal person,
like I've seen people like high school friends like descend into fucking insanity, like, which is like, again, okay, who helped start Pizzagate? A literal naval intelligence guy. Jack Pissbaby was a naval intelligence guy for his whole military career, and he's like the Pizzagate guy. So I don't know, like it's just I don't know. Like if you want people to, like chemtrails, fucking idiot shit. Yeah, Jack Prilosek was ex-naval intelligence,
That's insane.
Just like Mayor Pete, just like a lot of real freaks in like our government, like they'll talk about being in the military or maybe even specifically being in the Navy, but so many of them have intelligence backgrounds, like open intelligence backgrounds, not like George H.W. Bush's,
right?
Where it was like, no, I definitely was not in Dallas in November of 1963, and I have this strangely worded letter from my wife proving it. Also, yes, the FBI asked to brief CIA agent George Bush, but that was another guy who worked the night shift on the gate. They wanted to brief him for some reason. But I would say like there's some really good books out there about this, about particularly the JFK stuff. I'll be happy to give anyone like book recommendations.
We should have a thing for that on our Discord.
We should, and like
just realized that that'd be a good idea. We might. I don't know.
You're also pretty safe like reading literally anything by Peter Dale Scott. He's like a 95-year-old man who's done a lot of like really good work, like talking about the unique American deep state. So I need to watch the new Oliver Stone documentary. Like he's definitely on some lib shit, but the more I read, the more the Vietnam stuff convinces me, because like even Robert McNamara in his biography he wrote in the 90s right before he died talked about how not only did Kennedy want to get out of Vietnam, but that he had ordered McNamara to order the Joint Chiefs to draw up plans to leave, and they just like refused to do it. And the JFK Records Act declassified a lot of those. And like something that people got mad at me online is that like they feel like because JFK wasn't like a communist, you can't think that the military industrial complex would have had him killed. And I think it lends more credence to the theory that like even this man who was a pretty ardent anti-communist, pretty ardent cold warrior, that like just him like stepping away from the like established line was too much. And one of the biggest things is that the military believed that like in like mid to late 1964 the Soviets would equal our nuclear capacity more or less. And so they were always pushing Kennedy for a first strike, a nuclear first strike against the Soviet Union. Like they pressed him for this multiple times. And there's like a famous line where Kennedy leaves one of these meetings and he quips to his brother, like, and they call us the human race. Like, you know, and so, but I think focusing on the Vietnam angle like Stone does is probably a mistake, because that really gets in the weeds. He was really upset about the coup against Diem. The U.S. ambassador there sucks. The official story is totally off the table, because like that would involve Oswald being the greatest like marksman in the history of man, when his friends in Russia say that like he was such a bad shot that they would like go rabbit hunting and shoot rabbits for him to take home to act like he killed them to his wife. Yeah, like that's he was like a horrible shot, but it's like, yeah, he took like he took like a rifle that had been like drugged behind a Jeep for 15 years and made like the greatest shot ever. But I think focusing on the Vietnam angle with Kennedy is probably a mistake, but I get why Stone does it, because it's a very like liberal like thought train from his Dragon Slayer. I was literally thinking about that Bones episode. One of the dumbest things. Insane. Also, hi Dragon.
Long time no see.
Yeah, hey buddy. Something that I really like thinking about, because it's insane to me, is when Kennedy pissed off the steel industry because they went back on their word after he negotiated a labor settlement with them, which labor was quite happy with, by the way. And Steele immediately went back on their word, and then Kennedy sicked the Justice Department on the big six steel companies. And in Fortune magazine, which was also owned by that Henry Luce guy who owned Time Life magazine, who bought the Zapruder film, who was best friends with Alan Dulles, whose wife was one of Alan Dulles's mistresses, and
God, what an incestuous affair. Also,
the U.S. ambassador to Italy. So she like ran Gladio for a while. All of the hits. But so Fortune magazine, after Kennedy like frankly owned the shit out of the steel industry, put a cover article out that said "Beware the Ides of Steel," which is literally if you like have read your Shakespeare, you would know that that's a like death threat. That's a death threat.
I know. I'm just making fun of the. Yeah. I mean, as this phrase makes no damn sense. It's just very funny.
They said beware the Ides of Steel.
The middle of steel.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, that's like
the 15th and 16th day of steel.
Literally a death threat. Yeah. You know, you wanted to make a death threat so badly that you did it, that you were illiterate about it.
It's so funny. I'm sorry, because it's not funny. But
like it is. I mean, but it's so like absurd that happened. Mm-hmm. And like, I always come back to Alan Dulles' biographer, who talked about this moment like until like the day he died, about like being like extremely freaked out, because like Alan Dulles would always put on this like professorial air, like he acted like the dean of the college, like very like, you know, nicely dressed, smoking pipes, like a genteel man. So he's with his biographer. This is after Kennedy's dead, not long after Kennedy's dead, and just completely unbidden, completely out of context with the conversation, Alan Dulles kind of sneers and goes, "That Kennedy, he thought he was a god."
My God.
He kind of chuckled. And his biographer for the rest of his life was like, that terrified me. Because like the meaning behind that is like,
that's chilling.
Pretty grim when you think about it.
That's chilling.
And by like, he thought he was a god, he meant he could go against the national security state.
University, be they in government, be they industry, be they organized labor, be they anyone, or you can be